I'm back on a live and I'm going to get back into these because I really enjoyed doing them. I don't know whether you did, but I enjoyed doing them. And today we're going to be talking about 3 reasons you could struggle to get clients. I'm going to talk about it, unpack it. I see these things happening every single day. And so I thought I'd talk about them this morning because if you're struggling with these things, I just got a notification I'm live. So I should probably mute my phone. That would be a good thing to do, Dean. But yeah, I wanna kind of talk to you about the 3 reasons you could struggle to get clients. And if you're joining me wherever you're watching, hello. Say hello in the chat. I can see the chat here, so it'd be great to see you and say hello. So let me know where you're joining from, who it is, who's on these lives. That'd be great. So, having done how long? Having done 10 years in the kind of business growth, sales, marketing world in the current format that I do it, and having been in sales and marketing for like, hi Farah, good morning, and having been in, the sales and marketing world for most of my adult life, um, I see these 3 things coming up all the time. Hi, oh, India, awesome. I see these 3 things coming up all the time, and I want to talk to you about them because if you recognize any of these 3, you need to kill them because these 3 things will scupper you massively. And they're actually nothing to do with marketing, most of them. They're actually things that are human nature that are basically ruining your success in getting clients and drumming up business. So I want to talk to you about them. Good morning, Dashti. It is a little early, so I know some people will be like, what is Dean doing? I'm based in the UK, but I like to go live in the morning. So there's these 3 things that are actually causing most of the problems in sales and marketing. I'm going to share them now. So, as I said, 10 years, I've seen these pretty much every day. I see these problems. So what are they? Right. So problem number 1 is butterfly syndrome. Butterfly syndrome. What's butterfly syndrome or shiny object syndrome or whatever? This is about sometimes what we do is we jump around from different tactic to tactic. We're not really serious about the plan. I know this sounds really crazy, but it's funny how many people are deadly serious about getting clients, but when it comes to plans, they'll throw them away and they'll rip them up and they'll do new ones over and over again. There are people whose they're going out of business because they keep changing plans. They don't seriously stick to anything. And there are people wandering around going, why is this so hard? It's so hard because you've jumped around from different idea, never committed to something, never owned something, never done any of this stuff. And I'm going to give you an example of this. For years and years, I would avoid doing certain things because I didn't think it would work. So I'd kind of half-ass do them. I'd kind of half do it. And as soon as it got difficult, I would quit and run. As soon as it got difficult, I'd quit and run and walk away from it and try something else. There's tons of people doing that every single day and going, why can't my business work? Why am I not making enough money? You go in all in consistently on one process, one system, one plan. And I was talking to somebody on Twitter the other night and they said, how do you know when a strategy's failed? And I said to them, you can't know when a strategy's failed initially because most of the results in marketing compound. Pretty much most of them compound. There's very few linear results. What do I mean by linear results? I mean, we implement a plan and on day 1, it goes, yeah, I get a client this day, this day, this day, this day. It's never like linear. And when you're growing a business, most of it is not linear. It's actually about a compound benefit. So the first few weeks of something, you have to invest time in it to turn it around, to make it productive and make it successful. And then you start to see the compounding effort. In other words, the ROI lag. Pretty much every sales and marketing activity has an ROI lag. And that's just the nature of the beast. Now, I could flip and talk about the kind of long-term, short-term, but I'm going to save that for another video. So you have this ROI lag that most people don't tolerate. They don't put up with. Something doesn't work, they ditch it. I can tell you now, for a strategy to fully be effective, right? If you're doing short-term things like I need clients now and you're just DMing people to get clients now, knock yourself out. I'm talking about something that builds something over a long concerted period that changes the way your business functions, game changing. That's what marketing's really about. It's tactics to rummage around to get sales. That's fine if you're in a pinch, but it shouldn't be the way you run your business. So I'm talking about this process. Any strategy to really work, this is probably a very unpopular message in today's society where people will go on and tell you, I can make you a millionaire in 90 days. Any strategy to get a strategy to work, it consistent, fully performing, can take 18 months. It takes about 18 months. If you're a creator, content creator, and you go to a social channel and you want to monetize that social channel, it can take you 18 months to get there. 18 months, that's the average. So 18-month plan is not a belong plan in real world. It should be a minimum plan. So what I find is people embark on a plan and they expect linear results, linear. And what they don't realize is it's actually cumulative. So it compounds. So you're, to get the best month, to have a record month, it's probably things you were doing months ago that made that record month. Most people don't get this. They're butterflies. They jump around, they mess around, they tinker with different gadgets and never take anything seriously. This is a big problem. And part of it is a fear. Part of it is fear of investing in something and sticking to something that doesn't work. That's one of the reasons. There are some people who are just like, oh, bright light, squirrel scenario. But for the vast majority of people, they're afraid. They're fearful that they will invest in something and they'll sink all of this money and it'll be worse off. And so the conservation brain kicks in. I've got to conserve what I've got, conserve my resources, put them somewhere else. Seriously, it doesn't work. I can remember, and I'll tell you a story and then I'll move on to point 2. I wanted to start in-person events back, right, well, when were we? About 5-6 years ago, I wanted to start in-person events. And I knew how tough it would be to launch in-person events. There's a lot of energy and a lot of stuff you have to do to get that momentum behind in-person events. The first event I did, 4 people turned up. 4 people. So 4 people show up for this event. I feel like a lemon because I'm talking in a room with 50 seats to 4 people. So you immediately feel like an idiot. But we went again and we went again and we went again. And something weird happened. That first thing, we got better at marketing the events. We got better at getting people to show up to the events, and we got better at delivering those events till eventually I did 200 events in 3 years, 200 in-person events in 3 years with an average attendance of about 50 people. So that's nuts, right? 10,000 people came to our events in two, I think it was 2 years. But the first one, we had 4 people. If I'd have quit on that first one, that second one, that third one, because, it doesn't work, let's try something else, I would have never got to where I am today because I forcefully decided to make that event happen and make that strategy work. Often it's not the way you choose to do something, i.e. the plan, it's how you execute the plan. So can in-person events work? Yes. Okay, I've got to now make them work for me. So I can't defy gravity. In other words, I can't do things that's impossible. But if other people are doing it, I can do it too. I just have to crack the nut of it and figure out how it works. Facebook ads. People say they don't work anymore. Yeah, they do. People are still using them. People are still making money from them. But if I want to use it, I have to crack the nut. And most people, when they're trying to grow a business and build that long-term success, that long-term client acquisition, they have to crack a nut. And what happens is they go, oh, this nut's hard. Maybe it's not for me. Let's try another nut. And the reality is, every process that you follow, every strategy, every way, ads, outreach, content, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whichever one you pick, you have to crack the nut. And there are at least, I would say, well, I don't know, there's thousands of people who are trying to avoid cracking the nut, trying to avoid risking failure. And so they're not mastering any process to acquire clients. It's just the way it works. That's the butterfly. They don't want to invest into something until it works. And I've seen this many, many times where people either partially dip the toe in the water, but pull it out as soon as it gets a bit tough. Don't follow a process because they're too busy flitting from idea to idea to idea. Happens all the time. So that's my number one. Everybody's still alive here. I'm not putting you all to sleep. Yeah. The next one is actually the opposite of that one. This is overthinking. I want to talk. These are the biggest issues. I can tell you now, you can find the answer to Facebook ads and the secret to unlocking Facebook ads on YouTube and Google. You can find how to do outreach on Google. You can find all of these things. The problem isn't that you don't know how to do it, because there's all sorts of stuff out there that's free. The problem is building the system and you sticking to the system. Rex, what do I think about articles on LinkedIn? Use them, love them, especially the newsletter function. Really do like doing them. So they're quite useful for building a crowd as well. So overthinking. Now, you might not think, Dean, your title on this is 3 reasons you could struggle to get clients. Yeah. I propose to you, everybody watching here, that the issue is not how to get clients. The issue is us, our thinking. The way we think about it is the problem. The way we stick to things, butterfly syndrome. If we're a butterfly, we're not going to get clients. It's our problem. Most of the problems you have in your business are human problems, not system problems. They're the way we think about things, the way we execute things, the way we, what we believe. It's nuts. It's nuts that I've recently had a conversation with somebody and they've tried 5 or 6 different strategies. And first of all, they ditch them when the going gets tough. That's the first one. But one of the reasons they make it more tough is they massively overthink their approach, their strategy. They either build something so complicated they can't even run it. They don't even have the time to run it. Or they constantly think and second guess themselves about the message, the process, the system, and never let anything work. So any of you joining today who've done Facebook ads or done any kind of marketing campaign will know that part of the process is you have various different tweaks that you have to do. Dasty's asked a question. Does it mean it's the 4 Ps? The 4 Ps is a very old, tried and tested concept. But Dashti, I don't think it is. I don't think it is, because the 4 Ps, product, place, price, promotion, they do hint at it, but I've kind of got my own. It's the audience, the offer, the message, and the system. In other words, these are the 4 elements that make any kind of marketing, the client acquisition, successful. It's the audience, the offer, the message, and the system. So audience is who's you going to buy. What's the message that resonates with them? The offer, in other words, how does the product help them? Yeah. What is it? The package, how you've positioned your product. And then you've got the process or the system that you're going to use to take somebody from complete stranger to customer or client. So they're the 4 components, but 99% of the problems are not the system. It's the thinking behind the system. So overthinking, I see this one. People create messaging for strategy documents, for content that actually speaks to themselves. They're marketing to themselves. They understand this is my target audience, but actually when they start to write posts, they're actually writing posts that speak to themselves or speak to them competitors. I can remember one client came on our accelerator program and they said, I'm getting loads of engagement on social media, but no clients. And I was like, okay. So I went through their social media and I said, why are you talking to your competitors? Why are you talking to your competitors? And I'd tell people this a lot. And what happens is we forget that we are not our clients. We forget this and we go into autopilot talking about things that matter to us and in a way that matters to us with our lingo, and never really think about, does our potential clients even understand this? Is it relevant to them? Do they care about this? Or do they care about the outcome and the result? So overthinking, overthinking, thinking about things too much. And so you're obsessing that nothing gets done. Overthinking in terms of second guessing yourself, doubting stuff, changing your mind, not being able to make a decision. I'm a big believer, massive believer in what I called field testing. So a lot of people go, oh, let's send things around. You don't know what works until you implement. Nobody does, right? Nobody does. You can have a best guess off experience, but nobody honestly knows what works until you actually test it. In engineering, or when you're building a machine, you can actually design it with some degree of certainty that things work. Human beings are unpredictable, right? And so whenever you launch a process or a campaign, I always say to people, expect that it's not going to work perfectly on the first launch. It just won't. So that's why I advocate field testing. We've got a prototype almost. Let's get it out there, see how the market responds, improve it. But some people spend months working on stuff that they then launch, flops, and they've invested so much energy, so much emotional energy into it that then they ditch it. And they ditch it because, why would we sink good money after bad? I'm a firm believer that the market tells you what works and what doesn't. So if I go out to market with a beta or a test message, I'll try it, see how people respond and go, ooh, adjust it. And I'm learning and adapting and launching in real time. But overthinking is a crippler because it keeps you still considering stuff that should have been implemented. It makes you ponder things that should have been actioned. And it's a crippling if you've got this overthinking. Again, it comes from fear. It comes from wanting certainty. It comes from obsessing about what other people think. And it will kill your business. It will kill your business if you don't wrestle with it. There's only so long if you've started your business or you're in business and you've built a network, you've got a network, then you can rely on that network. But that's only for so long. And then you have to get out there and either extend that network or find another process of bringing business beyond who you know. And that will only take you so far. Your personal network will only take you so far. And then you have to get out of your headspace, really think, get out there so that people can learn about you, know, like, and trust, and buy. So overthinking is massive issue for people. And then the final one is process. Process is boring, by the way. Process is not very exciting. Process can be mind-numbing. I'm not selling it to you, really. But a lot of people don't like it. What they want is the high of success all the time. And if they don't get it, they abandon process. Process is why everything succeeds. Everything in life, everything is built on process. And when you get this, it's really boring, But when you get this, it actually sets you free from a lot of stuff. We as human beings, I can remember about 15 years ago, I was listening to a talk, and it was called Events versus Process. Events versus Process. And it's not about literal an event, but it's about a mindset and a way we approach things in terms of, do we have an event mindset? We're looking for something to happen, or are we looking for a process to create something over time? And most of the people, if you who rely on events, will constantly be relying on events. In other words, am I a process person, which goes steady, sure, process, 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 build things? Or am I just trying to look for a short-term win after short-term win after short-term win after short-term win? And many people are in that space where they're going short-term win, short-term win, short-term win. And it's a tough old gig because sometimes you don't win. Process is far more reliable, albeit it doesn't have the big highs of an event, of a payday, a one-off payday, or it's just things that happen. You gradually improve and grow. And that sounds like, yeah, I want that. But it's really hard to kick that event mindset where you want to go now, 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 now. I want a big yes moment. Yeah. And we can have those with process a little bit, but the deal closing, that event, that moment that changes everything. Yeah. And people go, Dean, we're all grown up here. We're not looking at, you look at your actions. Are you looking for that moment where everything changes, or are you building a process that everything changes? You're either waiting for the one day, that one moment in time where everything happens, or you're just engineering it to happen with process. Process is the way things work. And if a business doesn't have a process around getting clients and converting clients and creating new opportunities, systematic approach, it will be unpredictable. So you need to have a process and you need to stick to process. And sometimes it can be difficult because process doesn't feel very exciting. When I talk to a lot of people who do cold calling, for example, there is a certain almost hormonal rush you get from doing it because there's events happening, things are happening. If I'm getting, a call and somebody bites, yes. But when you're approaching things on social media, you don't get the same thing. There's a journey people go on, and then you have your payday. It's a different model altogether, and it doesn't feel the same. So as human beings, we get feelings. We can't deny it. We're emotional creatures. So some of the activities we do, events give us clear hormone, emotional responses. You pick up a call and slam down on you. Ooh, you pick up a positive one. Yes. Right. But with process, very often that doesn't happen all in one go. You have to build a process. So people who are event minded struggle to adapt to process. And what happens is they don't get their emotive responses. And guess what they do? They quit it. Process is what makes the world work. And perfecting a process is what makes your business grow. If you're not perfecting a process, you are running by events, and then you are vulnerable to basically a bad run. You're vulnerable to a method. You're vulnerable to your ingenuity. You're vulnerable to the luck of the draw. Whereas process is about certainty. It's about building a system that builds predictability and certainty. It's not very sexy, but predictability and certainty is good. And all great businesses focus on predictability and certainty and process. And if you're trying to build a business without those things, you will struggle. So that's my little rant for the morning. So 3 reasons you could struggle to get clients. Emphasis on the you, because a lot of the issues to do with you getting clients are not about, is it ads? Is it outreach? Is it content? It's not about that, because in the vast majority of time scenarios, you can make any of those processes work. Yeah. You can make any of those channels work. if you have a process and an approach to it, which is systematic, where you will test things, you will put things in place and commit to a process and say, we're going to make this channel work for us. Every channel, I say this to people and they go, what? Every channel works. Every channel works. The question is how well it works and whether you're committed to build the process to make it work. And that's the reality. If you dip your toe in the water and go, oh, I'm gonna have some success and then dive in. The world doesn't work like that. The world does not work that way. You can't get a success, get a win, and then decide to do it. You have to go in and make it work. That's just the way it is. So hopefully this has been helpful. If it has, thank you so much for joining me. If I put you to sleep, I'm sorry you're going to be late for work today. But thank you so much for those people who come join me today, and do tell me what you think. Let me know. Have you had any of these issues? Do you battle with any of these issues? Do you battle with butterfly syndrome? Do you struggle with the overthinking thing? Are you a bit of a person who struggles with process? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll try and come back and do a live again tomorrow, all being well.